The rise and fall of Baday Onuga, a story of business, life and money. The janitor's dream. Lagos, the city that never sleeps. A city of contrasts, where wealth and poverty live side by side, where the promise of success hangs thick in the air, like the humidity on a hot afternoon. It was in this bustling metropolis that Baday Onuga found himself, a young man with dreams too big for his humble circumstances. Baday had grown up in a small, crowded apartment in Mushin, one of Lagos's most notorious neighborhoods. The sound of honking Danfo buses and the shouts of street vendors were the soundtrack of his childhood. His mother, a market woman, had always told him that education was the key to a better life. But despite his mother's best efforts, Baday had to drop out of school at 16 to help support his family. He took a job as a janitor at a bank in the heart of Lagos Island, sweeping floors and cleaning toilets for a meager wage. But Baday was not your ordinary janitor. As he mopped the marble floors and polished the brass railings of the grand banking hall, he couldn't help but admire the men in their crisp suits, striding confidently through the bank as if they owned the world. He would watch them from the corner of his eye, listening to their conversations, absorbing everything like a sponge. He could have easily resented them, but instead, he saw them as role models, as proof that his dreams were not out of reach. Every evening, after his shift ended, Baday would walk down to Bar Beach. The beach was one of the few places in Lagos where he could clear his mind, where the relentless noise of the city seemed to fade away with the crashing of the waves. He would sit on the sand, watching the sun set over the Atlantic, and imagine a future where he too could wear those crisp suits and command the respect of others. Sometimes, he would indulge in a bowl of pepper soup with goat head from a nearby stall, savoring the spicy, flavorful broth that made his eyes water and his nose run. It was a simple pleasure, but in those moments, he felt rich. One evening, as he sat on the beach, lost in thought, an older man approached him. He was one of the senior employees at the bank, a well-respected figure who had worked there for decades. Baday recognized him immediately and quickly stood up, unsure of what to say. "You're the young man who always stays late to finish his work," the man said, his voice gruff but not unkind. "Yes, sir," Baday replied, nervously clutching his mop handle. The man smiled. "I've been watching you, boy. You've got potential. What's your name?" "Baday, sir. Baday Onuga." "Well, Baday, let me give you some advice. In this life, it's not just about working hard. It's about working smart. You keep doing what you're doing and you'll go far." With that, the man handed Baday a business card. "Come see me tomorrow after your shift. I think I can help you." Baday couldn't believe his luck. He stared at the card as if it were a golden ticket. The name on it was Mr. Benson, one of the bank's top executives. That night, he hardly slept, his mind racing with possibilities. The next day, he met Mr. Benson in his office, a room filled with polished wood, leather chairs, and the smell of expensive cologne. Mr. Benson offered to mentor him, to teach him the ins and outs of the banking world. It was an opportunity that Baday seized with both hands. Over the next few months, Baday's life began to change. He started taking night classes, studying finance and business management. He would spend his lunch breaks in the bank's library, reading everything he could about economics, leadership, and entrepreneurship. He even began dressing better, saving up to buy second-hand suits from Tejosho Market, a bustling place where one could find anything from clothing to electronics. The suits weren't new, but they made him feel like he belonged among the bankers he admired. On weekends, Baday would visit Freedom Park, a historic site that had been transformed into a vibrant cultural space. There, he would listen to lectures, attend art exhibitions, and mingle with intellectuals and artists. It was in Freedom Park that he first heard the music of Fela Kuti, the legendary Afrobeat pioneer. The beats, the lyrics, the raw energy of Fela's music resonated with Baday's own aspirations. Fela sang of struggle, of resistance, of rising above one's circumstances. Baday found inspiration in the music, and it fueled his determination to succeed. Despite his progress, Baday never forgot his roots. He would often return to Mushin to visit his mother, bringing her small gifts and sharing stories of his experiences at the bank. His mother, though proud, would always remind him to stay humble, to remember where he came from. "Don't let the city change you, Baday," she would say. "Remember, no matter how high you rise, you must stay grounded." But Baday's ambitions were boundless. He wanted more than just a promotion. He wanted to be in control, to be the one making the decisions, not just following orders. He dreamed of a life where he could walk into any room and command respect, where he could provide for his family in ways his mother had never imagined. One day, after a particularly exhausting shift, Baday decided to treat himself. He headed to a popular joint in Yaba, known for its mouth-watering pepper soup. The place was always packed with people from all walks of life: students, businessmen, and even the occasional politician. As Baday sat down to enjoy his meal, he overheard a group of young men at the next table talking about their latest business ventures. They were discussing investments, stock markets, and real estate, things that seemed far removed from Baday's world. But as he listened, he realized that these were the conversations he needed to be part of if he was going to make it big. With a newfound resolve, Baday began to network more actively. He attended events at Terra Culture, where Lagos's elite gathered to discuss art, business, and politics. He made it a point to introduce himself to people, to learn from their experiences, and to share his own story. He even started going to the shrine more frequently, not just for the music, but to soak in the atmosphere of rebellion and innovation that Fela had cultivated. As the months passed, Baday's hard work and networking began to pay off. He was promoted to an administrative assistant, a position that gave him more responsibilities and a higher salary. It was a small step, but it was a step in the right direction. With his new income, Baday moved out of Mushin and rented a small apartment in Surulere, a neighborhood known for its lively atmosphere and sense of community. Every day, as he walked to the bank, dressed in his suit and tie, Baday felt a surge of pride. He was no longer just a janitor. He was a man on the rise. And as he walked past the bustling markets and noisy traffic, he couldn't help but smile. Lagos was a city of dreams, and he was determined to make his come true. Little did Baday know that this was just the beginning of a journey that would take him to the heights of success and the brink of despair.